Lord forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack make it backflip. Telly Hank it with the action. With the Vato speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby May. Just caught a touchdown from the
Abandoned houses on every corner. Cars with suburban tags in and out of this area known as the Bluff for heroin. Question is, why is it still a major drug market after 30 years? And what's being done about it?
You to pan out to see what I face, to see what I'm doing when I get off of work and I get out of my car. I don't think that someone's going to try to sell me heroin from there, but what if a heroin addict pops out of there and they're trying to rob me? This is what I'm more fearful of, is the repercussions of it.
Keep going. Priscilla Joseph says she recently moved into the Bluff, what experts call the heroin capital of the South.
I see a lot of traffic and I see a lot of things that are happening. What I see walking up and down the street, like there was a man that I just had to scream out of the door, I'm worried about you, because I know that he was doing heroin in that house. And you could see him coming in regular intervals.
Outsiders visit the Bluff to buy heroin.
People are coming from all around Metro Atlanta purchasing illegal drugs from that community. The heroin addicts are getting younger and younger. They look more like suburban America than ever before.
We watched an Atlanta police undercover team find a dealer to sell them heroin in less than 5 minutes.
I would venture to say that you don't have to know someone to buy heroin in that area.
Everyone knows it. It's the best kept non-secret in Atlanta. So how come nothing's being done about it? It's absolutely worth saving. Why wouldn't we invest as a community? You know what I mean? That's something worth having.
We're vetting and having some great conversations with the Blank Foundation as well as the Atlanta Police Foundation, and talking about providing a security initiative to stabilize Vine City and the English Avenue community. A security plan that would include everything from cameras to license plate readers to building dwelling and homes for law enforcement to live there with take-home vehicles. We've got to stabilize that community.
Chief Turner says that with building the Falcon Stadium near the Bluff and with city leaders' commitment, he says he believes we will see a transformation. Reporting from the Bluff, Taylor Saxton, Channel 2 Action News.
Was in court today when the prime suspect in a record-setting heroin bust pleaded not guilty. We first showed you these pictures of a stash found last week. And news since then. Channel 2's investigative reporter Mark Winnie learned the feds have more suspects. Mark joins us now live from downtown Atlanta. Mark?
We got a high-profile lawyer for the suspect giving his side on camera for the first time. And an assistant U.S. attorney said he expects another indictment in this case with more suspects and more charges. We start with the DEA's Robert Murphy, then the defense.
We're not done. He was the biggest target. We took off a couple targets that are the big ones for him. We have some other people that we're going to be rounding up.
Yeah, we entered the not guilty plea. We will assess the case as we go forward.
A hearing in a huge heroin case. His attorneys Dwight Thomas and Bianca Calloway say their client, Antonio Deshaun Daniels, is a high-end used car dealer and that a government document says Daniels listed annual income of $120,000 a year. The DEA Atlanta agent in charge says Daniels is a drug dealer of epic proportions, behind a Georgia record seizure of roughly 170 kilos of heroin from 2 locations. And he was arrested near a stash of cash totaling almost $2.2 million.
Was he the biggest heroin supplier in the Bluff, the most notorious heroin trap in the South?
Absolutely, without question. He is the largest supplier in the Bluff of heroin in Metro. And he ran, he completely controlled it.
He stands by that not guilty plea.
He had the connection with the Mexican cartels.
Is he connected to a cartel based in Mexico?
He stands by his not guilty plea. Not guilty means not guilty.
Lawyer Thomas says everything he's heard from the government against Daniel so far is highly circumstantial.
There's nothing circumstantial about this.
You argue that he should get $100,000 bail.
I argue that in good faith that he should get $100,000 bail, and I still believe he should get $100,000 bail. He was not granted bail today, but we are considering an appeal to the district court.
The judge rightfully decided that this individual is a danger to the community and that he should be detained until he has his day in court. The addiction of heroin is a disgusting addiction. It's a terrible addiction. It destroys people.
He's not a threat or a danger to the community.
You brought up the relationship between law enforcement and people of color to the judge today.
because it is something that we got to face in this country, how law enforcement, how the criminal justice system impacts people of color.
Did his ethnicity have a connection?
Never came into play in this investigation.
Now, DEA Special Agent in charge Robert Murphy says the investigation started with a $7 million cash seizure in Mexico, and that led to a phone number. That led to Daniels, and DEA initially didn't know what he looked like. The Assistant U.S. Attorney says authorities are waiting on lab reports to find out what some of the heroin was cut with and whether that includes deadly fentanyl. Live in downtown Atlanta, Mark Winning, Channel 2 Action News.
Yo, we back. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb ties. We on our way to Georgia with it. Atlanta. Zone 1. The Bluff, to be more exact. Now, some of you guys might know The Bluff from the infamous movie Hood Classic, Snow on the Bluffs, starring the boy Curtis Snow, where he took everybody on a trip through the neighborhood and pretty much showed how it went down in the Bluff. Some people might know the Bluff from Rollo. I want to say Rollo talk about the Bluff a lot in his music. Free Rollo. You know, we waiting for him to touch down. And a few, I want to say a few of the trap rappers, but Rollo is the main one that comes to mind. And I want to say because he's predominantly from that area in Zone 1 with Bankhead and a lot of the notorious neighborhoods that you hear about in Atlanta, but a little bit more about the Bluff. It's a district within Atlanta that is infamous throughout Metro Atlanta for the availability of drugs, heroin in particular, Now, they say the borders of the Bluff are defined differently by different sources. For example, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and Creative Loafing both define the Bluff as including all of English Avenue and Vine City. Now, however, a more recent and in-depth December 2011 series of reports by 11 Alive TV News referred to the Bluff as a section of English Avenue. The English Avenue/Vine City area has some of the highest poverty and crime rates in the city of Atlanta, with the Carter Street area surrounding the Vine City MARTA station ranking in 2010 as the #1 most dangerous neighborhood in Atlanta and #5 most dangerous neighborhood in the United States. So, if you find yourself in the Bluff, to be blatant and honest, you better know somebody. You might still need to have a strap, and you damn sure better keep your head on the swivel because shit probably about to go down. Now that we covered the Bluff in a place that we're going to be stopping through, let's talk a little bit about the guy that we're going to be covering today. Now, today we're going to be covering a guy by the name of Antonio Shawn Daniels, but the media, and it sounds like the whole hood, knows him as FreckleFace Shawn. Now, according to the United States government, Antonio Shawn Daniels has been indicted on federal charges related to possession with the intent to distribute heroin, cocaine, and marijuana, and possession of a firearm in the furtherance of drug trafficking. Now, according to the acting administrator in the case, Timothy J. Shea, he said the arrest of Daniels, along with the seizure of hundreds of kilograms of drugs, dozens of guns, and more than $1 million in cash, represents a significant victory for the DEA, our law enforcement partners, and most of all, for the people of Atlanta. This case illustrates the devastating impact that violence fueled by drug trafficking can have on our communities, Drug traffickers and the organizations they work with use fear and violence to enrich themselves with little regard for the communities they destroy in the process. The DEA stands resolute with our law enforcement partners to protect the health, safety, and security of the American people. Now that y'all heard from the government, we're going to explain exactly how the case breaks down. Now, in October of 2019, federal agents uncovered ledgers from a Mexico-based drug trafficking organization showing that FreckleFace Shawn received just over 1,000 kilograms of cocaine between August 2018 and October of 2019. Now, the ledgers reflected that FreckleFace Shawn returned more than $31 million in drug proceeds to the organization that they eventually transported to Mexico. Now, during the investigation, federal agents identified multiple apartments and homes in the metro Atlanta area that Daniels allegedly used to prepare and distribute drugs. On July 27, 2020, agents executed a federal search warrant at those locations, which resulted in Daniels' arrest and the seizure of large amounts of drugs, money, and weapons. Inside a studio apartment in Atlanta, agents found approximately 28 kilograms of heroin, 6 kilograms of cocaine, 8 kilograms of marijuana, and more than $1 million in cash. There were 41 firearms stashed throughout the apartment, along with the kilo press, scales, strainers with white powder residue, and a money counter. Inside another home inside of Atlanta, agents found 142 kilograms of heroin and 4 kilograms of cocaine. In total, agents seized approximately 170 kilograms of heroin, 7 kilograms of cocaine, 8 kilograms of marijuana, and more than $1 million in cash and 41 firearms. Now, FreckleFace Shawn was indicted on August 11th, 2020. And what we want to remember is he is only charged with this. He is innocent until proven guilty. And I'm just going to say this. He wouldn't be the first person to beat the government, even though it's an overwhelming amount of drugs. Y'all know who we rooting for. So it's free FreckleFace Shawn over here. Again, we're going to say that one more time. Free FreckleFace Shawn. And yeah, this is a hell of a case for real. But like I said, man, the government ain't undefeated. Y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, on Twitter. It's your boy POP_A_LOT. And we're going to be back with some more real trail spill shit. Y'all get in the comment box. Let me know who we need to cover next. What city we need to go to next. What y'all want to see covered. What gangsters y'all want to hear about. And it's your boy Popalot, man. It's the Mobb. Mobb. Ties.